Okay, today's class we're going to talk about inferential statistics. Inferential statistics, right? So in our data-driven decision making, we discussed last week. So data to information, that's descriptive, describing whatever data we have. Now we're moving to facts, testing, right? Hypothesis testing, all these come here. From there, we gain knowledge and make decision. So there's a whole process of data-driven decision making. So now today we're going to talk about this area. Right. The last class, we talk about descriptive statistics. In the population, say you want to study a variable X, take a sample of size N, measure whatever you're interested, describe the characteristics. It can be quantitative or qualitative. As an example, hospital staff. In a hospital, let's say there are 1,000 staff, right? Can be doctors, nurses, and attendants, whoever. Now, what do you want to study in this population? Let's say I'm interested in studying BMI, body mass index. So what do? We take a sample. Let's say sample size 100, and then measure the heights and weights. And based on that, you calculate the BMI. Next step is describe BMI, which you did last week. Describe BMI, like what? Mean, median, standard deviation, skewness, right? Normality and these kind of things. But ultimate aim is not just to describe the sample and stop, but you want to say something about the population at large. Example, let's say from the population of 1,000, we took 100. My objective, example, is to determine the mean BMI among hospital staff. I can't study the entire 1,000 because of limitations in energy, time, and cost. So I take a sample. The ultimate objective is it's not to just study the sample and describe. So what can I say about the population at large? Example, my objective could have been to determine BMI among hospital staff. So here will be what's a mean BMI, median, standard deviation in that sample. So now from population to sample, now going back to population. So that's called inferential. After knowing the sample value, what can be said? Sample value is called statistic. S. What can it infer, say, about the value in the population? Hence, inferential statistics, right? How to do it? Basically, two methods. One is inference can be made either through hypothesis testing or estimation. In the first class, we have gone through what is hypothesis, right? Make a statement, make a tentative statement, yet make a tentative yet testable statement, collect data, and test the hypothesis. So in this process, to test if a parameter in the population is a hypothesized value. Example, is a mean BMI in the population equals to 25. Estimation is to estimate the population parameter based on sample value. We're not testing here, we're estimating. Test, we have like be based on the p-values. Example, last week, we asked whether data is distributed normal, yes or no, testing. So use something p-value, right? So hypothesis, to test the parameter value equals to A, or to test the parameter value differ between two populations. Examples are estimation, to estimate the population parameter. Where is it located? Usually we use confidence interval. For example, the mean BMI is between 20 to 25. But based on this, the p-value less than 0.05, then BMI is not 25. This I want to know, right? Where can I expect to find the mean BMI for entire population? So those days, we just use p-value to make an inference. But nowadays, most journals, they rather prefer the confidence interval, right? So from here onwards, all the tests, we look at the p-value and also confidence interval. So inferential, to make inference regarding the population parameter, either we use testing or estimation, sometimes even both. All right, example, the population means 25, right? There's a null hypothesis. Then what's alternative? Mean is not 25. See how you make decision here, right? Last week you say test the normality, the p-value less than 0.05, reject H null. That means it's not normal. The p-value more than 0.05, we say do not reject H null. Perhaps the mean is 25. So you go to some analysis, you will observe the p-values and make decision whether reject or do not reject. We don't say we accept H null. H null cannot be accepted because formulated with the intention of rejecting it. On the other side, to determine the population mean, look at the difference. Is the population mean 25? Testing. To determine the population mean, you want to know where the population mean is. You're going to construct a confidence interval. For example, from the calculation, this value comes out. Then you say the 95% confidence interval for population mean is between these two limits, right? So don't worry, SPSS, when you click appropriate buttons, read both p-value and confidence interval. Based on that, you make decisions. Now, errors and hypotheses. Now, there are two types of errors in hypothesis testing, type 1 and type 2 errors. It's the nature of the hypothesis, whatever testing, whether it may be true or can be false. True, look at this now, reject the truth. Rejecting the truth is not, right? It's not what you want. Truth should not be rejected. It's not you simply reject it based on the data evidence. I say based on the p-value, right? Even sometimes the truth tend to be rejected. Then you are said to be committing type 1 error. Truth is rejected. The second one, type 2 error, is when the false is not rejected. When the false is not rejected, you are said to commit type 2 error. So you must remember what is type 1 error and what is type 2 error. In this class, mostly we talk about type 1 error, right? Let me give an analogy. The suspect arrested by the police can be murderer or can be innocent. Only the court will decide. So you go for the court case, call witness after witness. Finally, the judge makes a decision. It's going to be either free the murderer. Freeing a murderer is not good. Why? You go outside and more murders, right? Or he may order hang the innocent. It's not a mistake. It's part and parcel of the investigation, and finally the judge makes a decision. So remember, the suspect can be murderer or innocent, nothing else. If after the court case, the murderer being freed, right, it's not a mistake based on the evidence, We are saying he's making type 1 error. Sometimes the innocent can be hanged, again because of evidence. Then you're said to commit type 2 error, right? So type 1 error, murderers freed. Type 2 error, innocent may hang. So between type 1 and type 2 error, which is more serious and why? Right? So between these two, general consensus, type 1 error is said to be more serious than type 2 error. Right? So now p-value. So what is p-value? P-value, SPSS gives you SIG dot. P-value, SIG, significant value. So nature can be true or false. We reject the truth, we are committing type 1 error. And the probability of committing type 1 error, symbol alpha, is known as the level of significance or the p-value. Right, last week for test of normality, we look at the SIG or the p-value. So p-value or the alpha accepted level usually set as 0.05. 0.05. That means to reject the truth. To reject the truth, the p-value is less than 0.05. You can say most likely it's not true. Right? So alpha p-value is probability picking type 1 error. Right? Again, this must be as small as possible. The chances. So probability we know ranges from 0 to 1. 0 to 1 or 0 to 100%. So alpha must be less than 5%, right? That's acceptable norm, right? Okay, before that. So what does it mean in our case? Free the murderer. Free the murderer. Less than 5% means what? Out of 100 murderers, 5 can go free because of evidence. Right? Out of 100 murderers, imagine 40 murderers going free. More murders will take place out there. So that's why I say type 1 error is very important to make sure the murderer doesn't go out. Right? You call many witnesses. Same as you collect your data sample size. And even then, a murderer can go free, but that must be, chances of that happening must be less than 5%. So to avoid type 1 and type 2 error, we need the minimum sample size. It's a sample size calculation. We incorporate type 1 and type 2 errors. How big a sample size do we need to minimize type 1 less than 5%? Okay, type 2 less than 20%. Right? So I'll skip this first. So power of test. Same thing, we already talked about type 1 error, less than 5%. So what is type 2 error? Type 2 error is committed when the false is not rejected. False is not rejected. Okay, then you're committing type 2 error. Symbol is beta. So usually beta is set as 20%. What does it mean? If you're talking about innocent, we are talking about innocent. Okay, innocent. But 100 innocent, you can hang the most 20. Don't hang more than that. Again, why this is higher? Because innocent being hanged, nothing happens in the society. But murderer is freed, more murders will take place. So we are more stringent on this compared to this. Again, this type 1 error less than 5% probability. Type 2 error less than 20% in probability. But we want this to be as low as possible. We don't want too many murderers going out. We don't want too many innocent being hanged. Right? Okay. So that's the power of the test. So what's power of the test? This is beta is the probability of committing error. So 1 minus beta will be not committing error. Probability ranges from 0 to 1 or 0 to 100%. 20% error, not committing, will be 80%. So in calculation sample size, we require these two information. Power must be more than 80%. That means that is powerful to eliminate the innocent, and must be less than 5% to make sure the murderers are not going free. Right? Later time permits, we go into sample size calculation. We require type 1 error, type 2 error, type 1 error less than 5%, type 2 error less than 20%. 1 minus that is called power of the test. Right? So when you're making presentation, people ask you what sample size you took. Your sample size calculation based on what? So what are the values incorporated? So probable type 1 and type 2 error will go into the calculation. Right. Yes. So all this, right, the values for alpha and beta are obtained from this table. But for us, we can use some software, can key in what you want and get the sample size required. You don't have to go into detail, but this is a table, right? The background calculation, all this is based on the standard normal table, which I've gone through last week. All right. So that is